Let me know. I would love to see where everybody's from. If you wouldn't mind popping into the chat, and if you can, drop me a little message in the chat. Let me know where you're dialing in from today. That would be fantastic. And then while you're doing that, I want to share with you today some thoughts. I want to share with you some thoughts around 21, around how I think what I think we should be thinking about. These are thoughts that I have as an entrepreneur, and they're thoughts that I hope to get you pondering later. Some of them you will agree with, some of them you won't agree with. In fact, if you agree with all of them, I certainly haven't done my job nearly well enough. Derbyshire in the UK, Guildford, Surrey. I used to go to Banstead, Surrey on my holidays every year. I don't know if you know where that is. I would imagine so. But yeah, that's awesome. Lovely to see you. Swansea in Wales. Fantastic. So yeah, I was born in Glasgow in Scotland. I know I don't sound it anymore. I am now a good South African guy. So, you know, if my accent goes all over the place, you know what that's about. Fantastic. Awesome. Lekker. There we go, Ross. Nice. Good true South Africanism. So I want to share with you some thoughts about how I see the world, and I want to challenge some of your thinking as well. Some of them may seem relevant to you, and some of them may not seem relevant. And I promise you, I agonized. I give a lot of thought and take a lot of time and effort into trying to create content that I think will be relevant to my audience. And there were sections in which I thought, will this be relevant for this type of audience? And I nearly took it out and I thought, no, because I want to challenge you to think bigger. I want you to question things in a different way. Now, the next thing I want to say is that I'm not a futurist. I'm giving you my thoughts from my head as an entrepreneur. I'm 46 years old now. I started my business when I was 22. I own a presentation company. So if I'm shit, don't hire my presentation company. If you're offended by the word shit, you know what? Life is going to be tough for you. I can guarantee you anything I say, that if you are offended at any given time through this presentation, it's taken by you and not given by me. None is intended. It is only taken. But you will survive. That is as bad as it gets. However, last year, I learned a bunch of things. I learned things about myself. I learned things that were changed the way I saw the world, and I think I'm better for it. In fact, this time last year, I wrote an article, and the article was entitled, "What if this is the best thing that's ever happened to me?" And I decided that it was. That was in spite of, maybe this time last week, a year ago, our company revenue hitting zero. So a 22-year-old business, or a nearly now 24-year-old business, hitting revenue zero. For the first time ever, we basically help people throw big events in the in-person space. We work with the speakers, we work with all the presenters, we create all the content. Everybody canceled everything. I realized that I wasn't under attack by the coronavirus. I was under attack by the people canceling their events. Coronavirus was essentially the fire in the corner of the cinema, but what was killing me was people trampling for the door, and I needed to go to war with that. This wasn't the end of the world though, because I luckily, as mentioned by Rich, in 2019, I spoke in over 26 countries on 6 continents. I had a good speaking business, really good pipeline of speaking gigs. I thought I can carry quite a bit of the business just with my speaking fees for a while. That was until later that day by 3 p.m. Every single speaking gig, by the time the world woke up, every single speaking gig that I had was canceled. We went to nothing. I had nothing whatsoever. However, I remember a quote by one of my favorite thinkers, another public speaker, a lady by the name of Brené Brown, and she said this. She said, "Uncertainty can be weaponized." And I wholeheartedly believe that to be true. I believe that we can absolutely weaponize our uncertainty if we're willing to do it. I think uncertainty is a great thing and a great tool for the entrepreneurs out there. I believe that entrepreneurs or entrepreneurial thinkers, we do something different to the rest of the world. The rest of the world is still falling into that Confucius narrative of do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I'm saying that's not true, right? I think entrepreneurs, we do what we hate. We find things in the world that aren't working and we fix them. We fix problems or we fill gaps. And entrepreneurially minded people are always trying to do that. As such, when there is great uncertainty like last year, this was a real hold my beer moment for me as an entrepreneur, which is ironic because I don't drink, but so you definitely hold my beer. But this was a time when I decided, okay, I've got to change things up and I'm going to really, really weaponize this uncertainty. The end result was that by August of last year, we'd had our best month in 18 months. And by September of 2020, we'd had our best revenue in 23 years with a whole lot less overhead. And I got good news for you today. And the good news is this: the uncertainty ain't going anywhere. And because of that, I think we're in good shape. I think we actually have an opportunity here and we've got to take advantage of it. And so I want to share with you 5 thoughts that you can use to leverage the value of this uncertainty. What's the first one? The first is this: I need you to nuke normal. Here's the thing. People keep on talking about this rubbish about the new normal. Guys, you know, what is this new normal? I could die. Every time someone's like, oh, you know, Richard, I jump on podcasts. Oh, can you tell me, what do you think is the new normal? I don't care. When was normal ever a good thing? Up until last year, when was normality ever something that we held ourselves like, oh, this is great. Yeah, everything's normal. Amazing. Normality is a threat to opportunity. Right? When things are normal, then you're running at cruising altitude. You know why last year was so good for my business? Because for the last 23 years, basically for the first 10 years of my business, I was figuring it out. I had no idea what I was doing and I was figuring it out as I went along. For the following 13 years, we were on cruising altitude. I have a problem that, you know, I was satisfied. I live in a nice house, I've got a nice family, everything was working, our business was good enough. I didn't have to break anything, so it just kind of worked. And this was a problem. We became dull, we became normal, and it was terrible. Last year, that normality got a punch in the face and everything changed. I was sucked back in because my business was no longer at cruising, it was on its way down. But that movement was an opportunity for growth and an opportunity for reinvention. And waiting for this to get back to normal. I was speaking to other public speakers even, they're like, no, we're just gonna, work on our websites until gigs are back happening live again. I was like, why would you do that? Why would you wait? This is such an amazing time for you to be a thought leader. And in fact, if you're out there and you're running a business, or you even have a great idea and you've not taken to thinking, hey, I could be a thought leader in this space right now, you're missing a trick. Because at right now, when uncertainty is so high, people are looking around for an expert. I've got a friend called Mike Stopforth, and years ago he started a blogging business when none of us were willing to do it. He ended up selling that to WPP for an absolute fortune. And we always talk about Stopforth's law, and it says this: any area that lacks an expert, whoever puts a hand up first becomes it. That could be you. So there's a massive opportunity for you to go out there while things aren't normal and to offer some degree of sensible thinking about how to face this uncertainty. This is one of the biggest opportunities for you as a personal brand that you've ever had in your career, right? When the status quo is weak, people are looking for that bat sign, for somebody who's willing to help them get through it. And my belief is that could be you in every industry, in every space. And you don't have to be the boss, and you don't have to be the business owner. You just have to be the person who put your hand up and said, hey, pick me, and it will happen. So that's the first thing. I need you to nuke normal. I need you to fall in love with the idea that normal isn't a thing. And this isn't supposed to be inspirational or motivational in any way. This is supposed to be completely practical. If things are normal in your business, it's a time to crap yourself because you're probably getting lazy and tired and you're not advancing your thinking. I really, really want you to see normality as a warning sign, because business should not be normal. If it's normal, you're not changing things. So that's the first. However, that does require us to change the way we see the world. And the way to do that is very, very simple. We have to go to thing number 2, and that is to slay our legacy thinking. Now, years ago, when I was a young man, when I was a young warthog, at the ripe old age of 40 years old, I wrote a book, in fact, the day before I turned 40, called Legacide. It's why legacy thinking is the silent killer of innovation. Now, as much as I'd love you to go to legacide.com and buy the book, like all business books, you get the joke in the first page, okay? I can explain it to you in one slide. You don't need to read the book. So I'm going to explain to you the basic premise of Legacide. If you understand this, you're like, oh, okay, cool, I see what he's done. I see what he's saying. Then you get the whole premise of the book. And the one slide is this: in an established organization, innovation doesn't happen when you start doing something new. It happens when you stop doing something old. Okay? Innovation doesn't happen when you start doing something new. That's what we think, but it's a lie. Innovation happens when you stop doing something old. You have to turn off the switches inside your business before new ones can turn on. So I want to demonstrate this to you. I need you to get that little chat button open for me. Hit chat, it'll pop open. I'm going to show you a picture now. And I want you just to tell me what you see on the picture. It's a very easy game. I know you didn't think you would be playing silly picture games, but you know, here we are. What a time to be alive. So I'm going to show you this picture here right now, and you're going to tell me, what is this a picture of? While you do that, I'm going to drink this lovely mango and grapefruit smoothie my wife made for me. What are you seeing here? Let me bring it bigger for you. What do you see on this picture right now? Off you go in the chat. Let's go. Do, 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 do. Ah, you guys type too slowly, and I'm running out of song. There we go. A tree, a cow. What else? Do, do, do. A bird. Do, do. A crow. A person from the side. A butterfly. Schmetterling. Papillon. Mariposa. Man. Okay, you know those things that where people say, "Or woman," I like it. That's very important, Rich, because you know we've got to be mindful. A black and white map of a beautiful place. Thank you. Land and sea, a map. Amazing. Okay, awesome. So you know those tests where you do to see, you know, how sexually frustrated you are. What are they called again? Those ink blot tests. Well, this, you know, and this isn't one of those. Most of you possibly then could do with a wee bit of loving, but actually only Laura got it right. You see, this is actually a picture of a cow. It's actually a cow. Now, I don't know if you can see the picture. If you can see a cow, can anybody see it? Let's go back again to where it's big. Let me go back to here. So you've got 2 eyes. When you see it, let me know. Yeah, there you go, Laura. You're the winner. Take the rest of the day off. Not right now, though. Wait another 20 minutes. Good. Okay, so you got a nose, you got 2 eyes that's looking sideways. Here, let me actually not mess around. Let me make this easier for you. Let me just draw this up a little bit for you. Okay, so now you can see a cow's head. You can see the eyes. You can see where the ears are. Its back. It's kind of looking sideways. There you go, Sarah. This is a team sport. Thank you so much. Can everybody see it? When you see it, give me an emoji or a thumbs up, or just like write random text and hit enter if you don't feel like actually typing. There we go. Whoop, whoop. There we go, Gail. Nice. Get it. There you go. Thank you very much. Okay, so we can now see this. I'm going to give you another image of it. I'm going to bring it slightly into focus just for those of you in the cheap seats. There we go. We can see it now. I'd been doing this presentation for ages with these slides, and then somebody pointed out to me what's happening in the bottom right. I don't know what it is. It looks a little bit like Satan's asshole. I apologize about that. I don't know what's going on in that slide. It's the only image I have though, so we stuck with it. But anyway, there you go. Okay, so, and again, for those of you in the nosebleeds, the really, really cheap seats, here we go. There you go. It's a picture of a cow. If I bring it back without the text, now we should all be looking at it and everybody can see the cow. Is that correct? I'm going to take your silence as an absolute hell's yes, Richard. We can all see the cow. Thank you. Joanna is answered on behalf of everybody. Good. Thank you so much. Here's the question. Can you unsee the cow? Because this is where the challenge really kicks in. The challenge is that when you start a business, when you start out in your field, so you get into real estate, you get into the space, and you're there, and it's all opportunity. You're basically an empty vessel, a blank canvas. You've been primed and you're ready to go. Somebody fills up that canvas, fills up that vessel, gives you information. They point out the cow, and all of a sudden you look at it, and now you see it. That's a problem. It's a problem for all opportunity, because every single time you look at anything now, every time you look at this, I could come back here a year from now and I could show you this image and you'll look at it and you'll say, it's a cow. And that is hugely problematic, because then you don't see the opportunity. You can no longer see the witch and the broomstick or the bird, which isn't there, but like everybody sees a witch and a broomstick. I don't quite know where. I think it's on the top there. Some of you will see it now. But this becomes a challenge, and this is the problem for me that explains Legicide. Because Legicide is, once we see the cow, we no longer try to solve. So we're no longer trying to solve the picture because we have that answer. So we're just going to rely on that mental model we have. One of the cognitive demands is representational holding. We hold an image in our head. We hold an idea in our head. Now, when you got involved in your business, you didn't have any of those ideas rendered. Now you have them all. And in fact, the more you know about a business, the inversely proportional you are likely to be able to innovate, because you have the answers. And this is a huge problem. This is a problem for entrepreneurs everywhere, is that we're unable to see opportunity because we have all the correct answers. There's a great quote by Alvin Toffler, a futurist, and I don't enjoy giving futurists any unnecessary credit. They give themselves credit all the time. If you want to be a futurist, it's easy. Just go to like futurism.com and read that website every day. They're just historians with a very, very short time frame. However, Alvin Toffler was the real McCoy, one of the real futurists. And one of his lines I absolutely love. He says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write. They will be those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Well, my friends, if you did not unlearn last year, you're already running late. Last year was a time we had to unlearn. We should still be unlearning right now, and we should be relearning. The cycle of unlearn, relearn should be something you're doing all the time. Learn, unlearn, relearn, over and over and over and over again. That's what we're trying to do. And this next thing that I want you to unlearn is going to be, I'm going to be tackling the holy grail of an industry. And maybe what I'm suggesting is a complete and utter pipe dream. Maybe it can't be real, but I want to push you in this regard anyway. And that is this: there is no more local. Everything changed last year. I'm reading a book at the moment by a guy called Scott Galloway. I don't know if any of you know Prof G. If you don't, the Prof G podcast, highly recommend it. I didn't include it in the notes that I'm going to share with you at the end of the talk. So at the end of the talk, I'm going to share with you notes of anything I describe and content like this, so you don't have to worry. But if you give me 15 minutes after the talk, I'll make sure to add a link to his podcast in there. So Prof G is amazing. He wrote that book about the 4 horsemen: Google, Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. And Facebook, sorry. And he's also written a book called The Algebra of Happiness, which I'm reading at the moment and I highly recommend. In that book, though, he says that if you want to be successful, get certified and move to a city. This was true. This was great advice. This was great legacy thinking. This was a cow that was relevant when you looked at it in 2017. But right now, I need you to understand that that anchor has been lifted. This is where you do business now. This is where your office is. I've owned a presentation company based out of Johannesburg, South Africa for years. For the last 10 years, I've commuted from where I live in Cape Town, getting onto a plane on a Sunday night, flying for 2 hours to Johannesburg, staying there until Thursday, flying back home to see my family. That's when I wasn't traveling around the world to speak. What a ridiculous way to live, when I could just as easily have jumped onto a call and dealt with my clients there. However, we built these really, really cool offices, and I believed that the only way you could do business with us is if you could drive 45 minutes somehow and get to our office. We realized that not everybody wanted to drive, so I bought a stretch limousine, and we had flames down the side of that limousine, and we served you milkshakes. We picked you up, and we drove you to our offices in our limo, and our chauffeur, Jabu, could give you presentation lessons on the way. Everybody gets into a limo with flames on the side of it looking like this, like, oh, come on, man, this is so embarrassing. Everybody walks out of that limo like this. Yeah. Yes. And we cheer from people for the door. And this was such a powerful tool that I believe that if you couldn't get to our office in 4 West Johannesburg, there was no real reason to do business with you. Now we're doing business all over the world, because as soon as I realized I'm doing it online anyway, I figured, well, why wouldn't we do business everywhere? We went from getting basically zero of our revenue coming from international, to 25% of our revenue by September coming internationally, to about 40% now in the last month. And we want to be 100% ideally of our revenue outside South Africa within a year. And we're able to do that, even though we are helping people deliver presentations with coaching that generally you need to have people up front, but this isn't my office anymore, and this isn't your office anymore. And I understand that you'd say, but that doesn't make sense in our industry. Bro, you don't understand our industry. People want, I get it, I've heard it all. And I would have said the same thing to you in my industry. People need one-on-one. They need me to be standing in front of them to talk about their body language and how they're interacting and all of these things. It's all a lie I've told myself. And I promise you, it may be true to you, but somebody else has figured this out. Somebody else has worked out that, hey, people moving to Wales, there is a massive, massive growth opportunity for figuring out how to do business with anybody wanting to relocate to Wales or to Scotland or Ireland or England or wherever, right? There's also a massive growth opportunity for people who want to leave and live elsewhere around the world. And nobody's putting up their hand to necessarily help with that. And I'm saying, why don't you? Right? That's Stopforth's law. In any area that lacks an expert, whoever puts their hand up first says, yeah, pick me. And I do believe that there's an opportunity for your industry to no longer be local. And I think companies like Dezrez in many ways help that, because they're providing technical tools to help you think bigger about your business. But it only works if you do that yourself. It only works if you're willing to turn around and say, well, hey, shit, I'll give it a go. And I think that you should. It has been the biggest single change to my business. I've done talks, now more talks international in the last year, but I'm at home for lunch with my wife every day. just from a lifestyle point of view to compare that, in 2019, I was at home 7 days in a row, twice the entire year. I missed my daughter's birthday. I missed my own birthday. It was horrific. Now, I've not missed anything. I'm having the best time. In fact, my wife wishes I would travel a little bit more. Not today. It's my wedding anniversary. But other than that, she wishes I would travel more. She thinks it's a pain in the ass because I keep on having to tell her, shut up, I'm doing a talk. She doesn't listen to me, obviously. But this is it. I'm doing work all over the world now. It's never been easier. The friction has been removed. And I think it's an opportunity that you're probably not taking. And if you think I'm talking directly to you, you would be right. You specifically are not taking this opportunity. And I can't really understand why. I understand that it's not easy, and I understand it's going to take some real reframing and working, but I do believe it's a growth opportunity outside the 4 blocks or suburb that you're currently thinking in. And again, maybe I'm being unfair. Maybe you're already thinking that way. If you are, more power to you. I wasn't. And it took me to get this to give me a kick in the ass. And this leads me to number 4. Online meetings are a feature. I believe online meetings are a feature in every single way. So much so that we've moved our business to one fundamental law. All meetings are online. Every single business meeting I do is online. Now, I understand that in your business meetings, sometimes you want to sit across, get a report, do all of these things. However, there's a massive efficiency. If I was selling my house and you came on to me and you said to me, the reason we like to have our primary meetings online is that we present so much information to you, and I'm sure it can become very, just a lot to take in. And it's one of the biggest decisions you're making in your life financially as a team, or as a unit. And so often this gets lost. And that's why I want to be able to send you a full transcript of the whole meeting. The whole thing will be recorded for you. We will give you a full transcript. We will highlight all the key points, and everything we discuss, you have a permanent record of that we can go back and discuss later. This is a feature and not a bug. Right? Oh, guys, it sucks having to do these stupid Zoom meetings all day long. We're stuck in the Zoom. Hey, guys. Help, right? We're stuck in Zoom all day long and everything's horrific and things like this. No, guys, everyone says they have a Zoom meeting fatigue. Nobody has Zoom meeting fatigue. You know what they have? Crappy Zoom meeting fatigue. It doesn't have to be bad. It's only bad if you make it bad. You can use tools, and I'm going to show you like the tools I use here to make your content appear like this. This could be images of houses, shows, it could be video walkthroughs, it could be anything all appearing here. Very, very easy for you. But there's a massive amount of efficiency that you can do presenting this way. And I understand there's definitely times where you've got to then get into a home and take people around it. I'm not disputing that. I'm saying meetings. And the other cool thing about meetings this way is there's so much less friction. There's so much easier to schedule because you can get in people's diaries easier and you can make them shorter. That brings me to my next point is this. All meetings are 30 minutes. I no longer do 60-minute meetings. In the past, if you had invited me for a meeting, so when Rich and the team invited me to come on for a speaker brief, let's say we'd met at 11 a.m., I would have gone into my diary and dragged from 11 a.m. to 12. And that would have been the meeting. And I guarantee you they would have done the same thing, even if we didn't discuss it. I'll come to your office for a meeting at 11. Okay. They assume that meeting ends at 12. Not anymore. Every meeting is now 30 minutes. And you know why? Because you've noticed this, but the value of a minute is better online. Like in the past, if you have an hour-long meeting and somebody arrives 2 or 3, 4 minutes late, not the end of the world. Now, 4:26, if you were supposed to be here at 4:25 or 2:25, I'm looking at it thinking, what's going on? But like 4:27, 28, I'm like, oh, this is some rubbish now. I'm going to hang up. Like I'm done. I'm already sending them a frantic email. So we get in, we get out quicker. What this means is now I have a motorcycle, so I never sat in traffic, but I would take like half an hour to get to a meeting, spend an hour there and half an hour back. I'm doing the same amount of meetings per day, but I'm doing them in a fraction of the time. I've now been able to divide my day into 3 parts. In the morning, I don't know if you can see the chair over there, just in the corner. So I do curation. So I take out my laptop or whatever book I'm working on, and I study, and I try to get deeper into my craft. I then do creation. So I take my paying back my team for the time that they've allowed me to sit and work every morning for an hour and a half is I start creating content that I share with my team or with our customers or I put online. And then in the second half of the day, I worry about communication. So curation, creation, and communication. I'm becoming a master of my craft. I'm not there yet, but I've finally been able to give myself the time I require to do that. And that's true whatever your craft is. You could be getting better at this. You could be leading the way. And we're able to because we've got more time. So what are some of the tools that I use to do this? So I want to share some of them with you. I wanted this to be a bit practical. So I want to share some of these tools with you. And again, every tool I mentioned, I will give you links to at the end of this. So you don't have to frantically write anything down. I've got one link that will give you everything on it. The first is a tool that I'm using now here. It's called Prezi Video. And in fact, in the link I give you, you can get 6 months to the tool for free. I don't get anything. They're just doing a bit of a land grab. They're trying to get people. You can just say that you saw Richard speaking at the Dezrez event, and they'll give you 6 months free of the pro version of Prezi Video. And I think even if you already use Prezi, they'll give you 6 months extension, I believe. But Prezi Video is super easy. It's basically a tool that allows you to present the way I am with this kind of picture-in-picture effect. And all you do, if you have like a PowerPoint file over there that you want to upload, you simply go, you click on the PowerPoint here, you upload the PowerPoint, and it just appears these little images and just rolls past, rolls past, rolls past. Now, I am blown away by this tool, so much so that I actually wanted to go and speak at one of the events. They have 1 million subscribers, and I wanted access to that audience. And in fact, there's a bit of I'm going to close the loop on this in a second. So what I did is I wanted access to go and speak for them. So I sent an email to this lady here. Her name is Lorraine. And I basically went out and I said, I want to come and speak at your event, blah, 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 blah. I think I can offer some value about how to be a professional speaker and do it online even better. And I was hoping that they would book me, but they didn't. And I didn't hear anything back. And I thought, well, I don't want to give up without a fight, but I'm a speaker. And they have a cool tool that's visual. So what I did is I loaded their tool. I wrote in the words, "Hey, Lorraine." I did it in their tool, Prezi Video, and I sent them a video saying, play 57-second video, just an email. And in fact, this isn't the right way of doing it. I just popped this straight in, and it showed a little animation of me going like this, like that, sending it to her. You can still see my board game shelf behind me. I don't move much, but so this was it. Sure enough, I get a reply a little while later. So sorry. Thank you for the creative follow-up. Really appreciate it. The mail was lost in the group, blah, 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 whatever. Then we jumped onto a call. We had a discussion and they booked me to an event. And the funny thing is, this event was where Rich from Dezrez saw me and ended up inviting me to come and speak to you here today because I sent a short little video mail. I thought that's pretty cool. I'm going to try to do that again. And by the way, they've invited me back. I'm doing another event tomorrow on newer content that I'm really excited about. In fact, I've never presented it before. I'm super pumped. If you do present a lot, I'd love to see you there. It's a free event, obviously. And I've got the link again for you there. But they invited me to come back. I thought, well, this is amazing. I want to try, I use Zoom a lot as well. So I mailed Zoom. They have an event called Zoomtopia. You probably saw it in your inbox last year. So I thought, hey, I want to speak at Zoomtopia. Why not? Now I can. They don't have to fly me out there from South Africa. It's easy. So I sent a mail. I found out the lady, Kristen, was the one who ran it. I used the service, and I don't have the link to this, but I used a service called Fancy Hands. And I paid for basically somebody to find me. I gave them $5 basically, and they found me the name of the person who was organizing Zoomtopia at Zoom and their email address. So then I sent a mail, "Hey, Kristen, this is amazing. I would love to come and speak at your event. Let me know." She mailed me back, said, "Rich, I'm so sorry. You've already missed it. We've already closed off speaking. However, we'd love you to do a webinar." They booked me to do a webinar. It was the most successful webinar, my understanding of conversions for them in the last 2 quarters, and they've now booked me to do a webinar a month. All because I sent them a little video of me just chatting and waving and engaging, because you're able to get your personality across. What tool did I use for that? Well, the same tool actually I used when we sent out a promotional video to you guys, a tool called BombBomb. Now, the one I used when I mailed you was called Dub. It's very similar. I sometimes use Dub. I sometimes use BombBomb. I'm trying to work out which one's features are better. This is your unfair advantage. I cannot tell you enough how cool it is. You are a profession. I don't know if you guys are anything like the South African people in real estate, but they are, I can't drive past a bin or a bus stop or anything at the side without seeing a photograph of somebody, right, who will sell me a house. And on the sides of their cars, on everything. You guys are used to putting your face out there. If only you could do your face and your smile animated and your voice in an email. Well, now you can. Now you can use this tool, BombBomb. And guys, I wanted to say to you, the onboarding process, the tutorials of BombBomb, they give you like these guides for sales, these things like this. The tutorials, the onboarding is so good that it's worth doing just for that. Again, I'll share with you a link for this. Then you want to schedule meetings. The tool that I've been using. Now, BombBomb, by the way, does have an API that works with Zapier, that works perfectly with your Dezrez as well, so it integrates perfectly there. The next tool, you can use a tool like Calendly for this. I happen to use Woven just because it's the one I prefer. Woven doesn't have an API yet, so possibly Calendly would be better. But optimizing or automating the meeting booking process for me has been a big deal. So I've been using Woven. It's been really, really great. I basically create a link here and a sidebar, and I get people to book some time. I send them one of these links. It creates as a nice little short link, which I'll tell you about in a second. I send that to customers and they book time with me. It gives me all kinds of analytics and everything on my mail. It's super easy. It's really, really cool. And it's a really, really great tool. So it makes scheduling meetings so much easier. And I book them in increments from 15 minutes to 30 minutes. And then when I'm meeting with mates, I have a longer one for an hour. They basically click on it. They choose a time that they want in their diary, and then they go from there. I want to share with you one small little tip around sending a scheduling link to somebody, to one of your customers, because it can seem maybe a little bit pushy. Hey, I'd love to meet with you. Click on my link to book time in my diary. The phrase I use is always, hey, I'd love to, set up some time to chat to you. I'm very, very happy to find any time that works in your diary. If you want to go through your diary and send me some times, that would be no problem whatsoever. If it would be easier for you, I have included a scheduling link where you have access to my diary and can book there, whatever works better for you. They always end up booking in my diary because it's so much easier than diary wrangling that we've done in the past. Woven is amazing. The analytics are fantastic. It's really, really been a game changer for me, and it makes it so much easier for me to get meetings. But one of the problems with meetings is obviously dogs being noisy. For that, I've been using a tool called Crisp. I don't know if you guys know Crisp at all. So if you don't, I'm going to give you a little bit of a demo quickly. So I just want to make sure that I've turned off my Zoom audio setting, automation. Okay, so it's on low. So you should be able to hear this if I do this. Now you can imagine if that was my dogs barking. I'm now going to turn on Crisp quickly. And then you should not be able to hear this, I'm hoping, or this is a really crappy demo. So this is now an amazing tool to schedule when you are dealing with people and you want to engage with them that way. So lots and lots of tools. I wanted to make sure that this wasn't just conceptual. I wanted to share with you some tools for engagement. And this brings me to, yes, and I need to drown out the kids. Yeah, it would be amazing if we had that for children as well. Unfortunately, the one thing I have realized is that I said to my wife originally, my wife is very loud. I said to her when I first got this, hey, it's super cool. I've now got noise cancelling. You just carry, you do you. But of course, this thing is designed to pick up voices and to make sure the voices came through and everything else is dodged. So basically everybody, I thought nobody was hearing my wife. She was being loud and she's a little bit foul-mouthed at times when she's had a wee dram too many. And anyway, it was terrible. I've learned my lesson now. Now I have to just shut up. I want to talk. But there you have it. So this brings me to my last thing. And this is my last thing. And this is the thing that I originally wrote for my team, my staff. But I feel very, very strongly about it. And I want to say it to you too. Because I think that the most important thought for this year for all of you is that you need to start behaving like future you is taking notes, right? Like future you is watching, because I believe that they are. I believe that everybody is going to look back 5 years from now as this being the greatest time of innovation, the greatest accelerator that any of us have experienced in our lifetimes or in our careers up to this point. And it amazes me how many of my friends, people I respected a lot, will look back at the changes they made last year, and they will realize that the best thing they did is to learn a new dance on TikTok, right? Jerusalem or wherever it is. And I don't think that's good enough. I think that we must realize that we're in the middle of a race. There's a land grab of opportunity. And I get really, really excited about the fact that when I'm looking back at this time later, I certainly feel that I've made the decisions that future me will be proud of, even if I failed. And I knew there was a very good chance that I could fail completely. But I wanted to make sure that I would be proud that I at least tried. And that's my challenge to you. Maybe these ideas don't make sense, maybe they do, but at least you should hold yourself accountable to trying. So I have prepared a link here for you. As I mentioned, it's getrich.af/Dezrez. You can go there right now if you want. You can take out your phone and you can scan this QR code. I've included links on everything I mentioned, including links to QR Code Monkey, which is a service you can use for including QR codes and talks, which all of a sudden now QR codes make a lot of sense. You can share them online. You can share them in talks you're giving. You can share them in Zoom calls you've got with people. They can click on that to see walkthroughs and various things like that. So that's it. I want to take you through, once you've got all of this, getrich.af. In fact, what I can do as well, I think, let's just say .des. Here we go. There's the link to make it nice and easy, so you don't have to type anything. You're welcome to go there. I will add the link to Prof G in the next like 15 or so minutes. But I want to leave you with a recap of all the key points that we have. So 5 thoughts for 21. I want you to go out there and Nuke Normal. I want you to slay your own legacy thinking. Remember, innovation happens when you stop doing something old. No more local. I want you to consider that you do not have to be a local business. One of the most exciting things for me is that my kids have opportunity to work anywhere in the world now. They can live in this beautiful place that we live and work anywhere they want to. Online meetings are a feature. Change your narrative about that. Get out of Zoom fatigue. Zoom fatigue is a lie. You're not tired from that. I know this because Netflix numbers have gone up an hour. People aren't tired of screens. They're tired of shitty screens. And finally, future you is watching. I could be completely and utterly wrong. Thank you, Niamh. I really appreciate that. I could be completely and utterly wrong. However, I want to leave you with one final quote. I'm a big fan of ice hockey. I watch every Toronto Maple Leafs game that is on. I never miss one, so Friday morning I will be up watching again. But even, it doesn't matter which team you love. If you like hockey, you love Wayne Gretzky. And Wayne Gretzky had this to say. He said, you miss 100% shots of the shots that you do not take. And the only thing left for me, ladies and gentlemen, to challenge you is to go out there and to take the shot. Please go out there and nuke normal. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Rich, come back. It's awkward. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. That was amazing. Thank you so much. That was brilliant. And some fantastic ideas there from it. And we're definitely going to be downloading Chris because one of our colleagues has got the loudest snoring dog known to man. So I'm not sure it works on that, but definitely will be something we'll be looking into. But
it does.
That was fantastic. Thank you. I think what you mentioned there about what your business experience is what a lot of estate agents have experienced in the UK, because we had furlough schemes, we had lockdowns going on, we had all these real big challenges for our customers to try and address, and yet they were having the busiest times. So many people coming to them wanting to move house, with this whole thing around thinking about you want to move to a new house because you haven't got a big enough garden. When you're thinking of the lockdowns coming, you want to get a bit more space, all those things, people moving out of the cities and all of that. And so it's been this real challenge. How do you use technology in the best way to ensure that you can make the most of those opportunities that are coming from these massive challenges, as you said? So that was absolutely fantastic. So thanks, Rich. And
I think there's also a massive opportunity for me. And I don't know how it's been over there, but home renovations is possibly going to home offices, build and properties with home offices, like somebody owning that corner of the space that we represent. We specialize in houses with home offices. That is got to be a massive growth area, because we're starting to build now upstairs here, because I've closed my office in Joburg. It costs us an absolute fortune, and we're a remote only business, but there is got to be new opportunities in this space. This home life to home work is changing a lot, right?
Yeah, sure. I just can't see us going back to that normal way of working. Like you say, we're not going to be going back to all these meetings which are not online anymore, because they're just so much more efficient. We get so much more done in these sessions, and like we've had today, we've been down to the minute on the timings for everything. So absolutely, we've got to make sure the online meetings run to time rather than spending all that time chatting at the start of meetings, things like that. So that was great. Thanks, Rich. Is there any more questions in the chat we want to answer?
Danielle asked if my wife is South African. Yes, she's so loud and so South African. My Lord. So yes, she is. She's very South African. My wife is, although I must say my Scottish family is not really that quiet either. So I think between the two of us joining together, you'll hear us coming a mile off. If there's any questions whatsoever, I'm happy to address them, or things like this. If you'd prefer to engage on LinkedIn, there is a link for you over there, and you can come and chat to me there. I'm kind of going through, but I think we're all good.
Yeah, a couple of things that you mentioned there, like BombBomb, for example, is available on Zapier. And as we have a link with Zapier, so we've got an integration with Zapier from our product Resi. So actually, agents will be able to use that directly in our system. So they'll be able to use the BombBomb app there and bring that straight into our software. So that's a fantastic
Amazing
one. Yeah. So and Calendly I saw is on there as well. So things like that calendar booking solution is fantastic for making all your booking more efficient and effective. So it's great to be able to push those forward as well. Cool.
I'm going to include this in the kind of notes of the talk as well, but here is a link to the Prof G podcast, which I've really been enjoying as well.
Oh yeah, awesome.
And, yeah,
great.
so I will include it in my personal notes. Everybody, thank you so much. I don't see any questions. I do realize that that happens a lot. I don't know if that's what it means I'm really shit, or maybe I'm just so good. I answered all the questions, but you know, I'm gonna tell my wife I was brilliant. She won't believe me anyway, and then I'll just say that's why you had no questions whatsoever.
You were
Rich,
brilliant.
thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it, and thank you to everybody else for your time and attention. I understand that it's so easy to be distracted, so the fact that you've even stuck around for any part of this is an incredible privilege for me, and I cannot thank you enough. Thanks, everybody.